Yes, Lee. You didn't put the mics back.
Did I not?
No.
Oh, did I mix it up?
They're just not back where they were beforehand. That's fine, though.
Are we okay? Do you want that one over here? Do you?
Well, we'll do that when we go to the news. How's that? Welcome home.
Thanks very much. Do you know what?
Never was a week taken off for a 2-hour show so much in any.
I know shows. Do you know?
How do you do that?
So much work had to be put into it. Like you're going to
say,
say,
I go over went to London.
Oh, here, do I need the fiddle?
For 2 hours, right? 2-hour show.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to be back for Monday.
Right.
How much is it going to cost?
Yeah.
Look at you.
But see, we drove over. You see, it took 2 days to drive there and 2 days to back.
I need to.
You need to drive.
Together, boy. I need to get.
No, you don't. You're doing good. Your figures are going good, and you got them awards coming out. You need another new shelf, I would say.
Yes.
So what's this award for then?
It's just for. It's from the. What is it called again, Caroline? The Law Society. It's just a recognition of
wow.
programming you do
That's
to promote justice or something.
So when do we hear about that then? So months away, is it, or something?
When is that, Caroline? Thursday, the 11th of June.
Lovely. Even to be nominated for that's great. Do you know?
It's all going the right way, Lee.
God, it's only going up for you, huh?
It's only going up, son.
I'm back doors.
10% growth, listener growth in the first hour, 6 in the second. What's going on?
Oh, my God.
Those figures must be
Need
fixed.
a new window, bigger door for you, or?
Come here, so you enjoyed Monaco now?
I did, Great.
Once. It's a once in a lifetime.
Did you like
experience.
my Oscar appearance when I landed at my home place where I was born?
Yes.
You didn't see it, maybe?
No, that was in rugby or something.
But I
didn't know you were a Brit.
Well, I was born there, do you know? But listen to me. The crack was, I went into Dad on the way back because Dad's not keeping too well, so I called in to see Mum and Dad when I came back, and I found out I went to the wrong house.
Oh, why would you admit that?
Huh?
Why would you admit that?
Why, sure, I'm open book, I would say.
Yeah, okay. So
I went to number
you?
10 Pine Grove.
Yeah.
But it was 5 Pine Grove.
Oh,
I didn't tell nobody else. I didn't even tell Leslie.
You were only 2 houses away.
I was across the road.
Yeah, but 2 houses away.
Yeah. And I was speaking to the woman that was living in the house. Sheila.
Number 10?
Yes.
Or 5?
I says, I mind the backyard and it was big and stuff like this here. But I was talking to the wrong woman.
Well, listen, you were within
I was close
distance.
anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll have to go back again.
Do you know? No, I don't think that. The area where it all happened, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, so there you go.
But it's still nice.
Yeah, all right. Then.
Do you have to give the Oscar back?
No, I didn't get the Oscar. What do you call what is it? The raspberries or something like that? Yeah,
okay.
something like that.
Well, listen, it's good to have you home. All right,
thanks,
Lee.
man. Good luck.
Look after yourself. It's 9 o'clock. Let's get a news update. It's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. It's been a weekend of road tragedies in the region. The PSNI have confirmed one person has died following a 2-vehicle collision in Omagh yesterday morning. Detective Inspector Dave Stewart from the Collision Investigation Unit says police received a report at around 9:10 of a collision involving a Volvo and a Mazda in the Clonaboggan Road area. In Donegal, 3 men lost their lives on Saturday, bringing the death toll on the roads in the county so far this year to 6. A man in his 20s died in hospital after his car crashed near Muff shortly before 10 on Saturday night, while 2 men died in a collision on the N15 near Donegal town on Saturday afternoon. They've been named locally as 30-year-old Keelan Bush from Letcher Barrow and Leon Shovlin, who was in his 20s and originally from Ardra. Ambulance staff will go ahead with planned strike action next week if progress isn't made at the Labour Court today. That's the warning from SIPTU and Unite ahead of talks with HSE management later. It's part of a years-long dispute over pay. A strike tomorrow and Wednesday has been called off, but John McCamley, SIPTU's ambulance sector organiser, says they'll return to the picket line if they have to.
Well, presently we have stood down the stoppages on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, but our work to rule remains in effect, and so does our 72-hour stoppage the week after. So again, if we don't have a resolution of these talks, we are ready for further industrial action.
President Catherine Connolly begins an official 3-day visit to Britain today. Her engagements are set to include a meeting with King Charles on what's her second overseas trip since becoming president. She made a trip to a summit in Spain last month. She'll also meet members of the Irish community in London and Leeds and attend a reception hosted by the Irish ambassador. And there's still no date for a state apology for Irish thalidomide survivors. That's despite the government committing in February to making the formal apology as quickly as possible. Thalidomide was prescribed to pregnant women in the 1950s and 60s for morning sickness. It was withdrawn in 1961 after it was found to cause severe birth defects, but remained on sale in Ireland for several years afterwards. Babies were born with partial limbs and damage to their organs, hearing and eyesight. Taoiseach Micheál Martin said at the weekend good progress was being made for survivors, but Finola Cassidy from the Irish Thalidomide Association Association says they can't wait much longer.
The apology is warranted because of their hand acting part in it. To force us this long for such a tiny group of now catastrophically disabled, ageing people is completely unfair. But look, the apology and a fair compensation. We have aged, we have deteriorated, and we need to be able to leave the scene and get some peace in our lives.
Dry with bright or sunny spells for much of the day. Any isolated mist or fog will clear during the morning. It'll become more cloudy with rain spreading from the southwest in the evening. Top temperatures this afternoon of 12 to 15 degrees Celsius with light variable breezes, increasing moderate to fresh later. That's Highland Radio News. Back with more at 10 o'clock.
We check the forecast, we check the fuel gauge, we check calorie counts and best before dates. We check we have our keys, then check again for safety. We check shopping lists, to-do lists and checklists, obviously. We check bus times, train times, tram times, plane times. We check whether what used to be Czechoslovakia is now the Czech Republic or Czechia. So why don't we check before donating to a charity? The Charities Regulator keeps a public register of charities in Ireland with details on what they do, who runs them and some information on their finances. So click, check and give confidently. Find out more at checkacharity.ie.
The Talk of the Northwest, the Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to the Greg Hughes Show here in Highland Radio. And it's the start of another brand new week on this Monday, the 18th of May, 2026. And I do hope you're all very well indeed. How was your weekend? I'm pretty quiet, I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of telly, a lot of sport on over the weekend. But there is every weekend now, it seems. But anyway, here we are. Plenty of action. Congratulations to Celtic fans, Armagh fans, Westmeath fans, fans of golf. We're in for a treat into the midnight hour last night as well. There was lots going on. Lots of other stuff happening as well too. If you want to talk about whatever you came across over the weekend, maybe there's something you believe we should be talking about. The lines are open for you. This is your programme. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. 074 91 25,000 is the number you call, or give us an email on comments@highlandradio.com. And to invite you to watch the programme if it suits you. We present the show for you visually every single day. And it's YouTube is the most versatile because you can watch it across your mobile devices and you can fast forward, rewind. You can't fast forward because it's live, but you know what I mean. But also, if you're at home or working from home, you can stick us up on your smart TV. Just open the YouTube app. All smart TVs have it. Type in Highland Radio Ireland. Click it and you'll see we're live. Give us a like and a subscribe if you can. Or that's good if you've got a Fire Stick and not a smart TV. And many of you do have them as well. A devastating weekend on the roads here in two very popular, well-known young lads, originally from Ardra and Letterbarrow, with a huge friends network. It is a tragedy that obviously is, we see the loss of two lives, the devastation in the families, and that ripple effect across an entire community of people that were close to them. And as that news was coming to us, we learnt then of a second collision Saturday evening in Muff. Another young man in his 20s, his life taken. 3 young men died on our roads, the county's roads. 4 across the country, I believe. But so far this year, 10% of all fatalities on our roads, very close to 10%, have happened in County Donegal, and it is absolutely heartbreaking. And for such a small, relatively tight community, it is very, very difficult to take. And it's covered on the front of the Derry People Donegal News. It was a tragic weekend in Donegal as 3 men sadly lost their lives in 2 separate collisions in Barnesmore and Muff. On Saturday afternoon, 2 men were killed in a 2-vehicle road traffic collision on the N15 at Clore between Donegal Town and Barnesmore. 2 occupants in 1 vehicle, a man aged in his 20s and a man aged in his 30s, were pronounced deceased at the scene. And then, as I mentioned, on Sunday, a man died following a single vehicle collision in Muff on Saturday night. And our thoughts and prayers and everything going out to the families and friends of those young men, and 2 others, 4 in fact, in the South Donegal crash. 4 people were removed to hospital for treatment as well, and we hope they have a full and speedy recovery, but very, very difficult to know what to say and what we need to do to try and to try and reduce as much as is possible the carnage on our roads, and of course then from that the devastation that it wreaks and the young lives lost. We'll talk about that a little later on, but I'll continue with the rest of the papers. The Derry News this morning. The North's mental health champion did not mince her words regarding the failure of Stormont's mental health strategy 2021 to 2030. In line with commitments made as part of the New Decade New Approach Agreement, January 9th, 2020, the Health Minister, Robin Swan, launched the strategy in June 29th, 2021. And you can hear, you can read those comments in that paper. Today on to the Nationals, and Fianna Fáil had their Ardèche at the weekend, and the rumblings over the future of Micheál Martin continues, and he's, I suppose, being proactive in that regard. I'm reading from the Irish Independent here. Taoiseach Micheál Martin has warned his rivals against trying to create fresh leadership controversy after Friday's by-election. The voting in Galway West and Dublin Central will have implications for all three of the main party leaders, with most in Fianna Fáil seeing them as a lost cause or lost causes. While Fine Gael has a chance in the West and Sinn Féin leads the polls in Mary Lou McDonald's Dublin Central constituency, Mr Martin's party is not competitive. However, he's tried to preempt any backlash by saying people are fed up of politicians just thinking about themselves and positioning. He warned that Ireland needed to avoid what has happened in the UK, where they are on the cusp of 7 prime ministers in a decade. And in what? Well, that I don't think. I'm not judging Micheál Martin on his performance. It's not for me to do so. But just because Britain has had 7 prime ministers in a short period of time, it doesn't mean that a prime minister of another country shouldn't be held accountable or should, potentially lose their job if enough people feel that they're not doing that job well enough. I mean, that's crazy. That's not the litmus test, is it? You are judged in your own country on your own performance, and as I say, if enough people, primarily it seems within Fianna Fáil, want to change, well, they want to change. Who cares what's happening in Britain? We shall see. But he's already sort of saying, look, we're probably not going to feature too well in these 2 by-elections, so calm the Brigand. And in what could be interpreted as an olive branch to his detractors, reading on here, Mr Martin said, I think that's the issue for us as a party, and I'll always do the right thing for the party. Of that be under no illusion. Some backbenchers who spoke to the Irish Independent last night were not convinced, though. And there has been for quite some time, quite a number of backbenchers who have for years been wanting a change at the top, a change of direction. So there's no surprise there. It rumbles on, but it's going to take something else, it would seem, to threaten Micheál Martin's tenure as head of Fianna Fáil. Figures released today of earners at RTE. The reason I say this is because you directly pay their wages through your licence fees. So I think there's a great deal of interest out there. And more than 200 people at RTE were being paid more than €100,000 annually at the end of last year. 200 people on over 100k. That's massive, isn't it? Especially when many of you listening aren't necessarily happy with what's delivered. The figures were released prior to the controversy that engulfed the public service broadcaster last week. It emerged last Thursday that the presenter and producer Derek Mooney had been omitted from its list of the top 10 highest earners presenters at RT since 2020, while other top stars had their fees slashed by 15% that year as part of a what is that? I can't read that figure. What is that? €600 million restructuring plan. Mooney's pay decreased by a far more favourable 3.7% because he was classified as an executive producer. So you might not have heard him on the radio for quite some time. But he's still raking in the bucks. New RTE figures also reveal that 18 people at the station were earning in excess of €200,000 on December 31st. Last of those, 12 were in the pay band between 225 and 300,000, but RTE declined to give a detailed breakdown of the highest earners. So I don't know what Derek Mooney does. Maybe he's fantastic value for money. There's one of the top 10 earners is Mr. Lee. Probably a lovely fellow, I'm sure, a very good journalist, but I never hear him on RT. I tune in from time to time. Every now and again, it's just like a press release as it relates to, something medical, but he must be flat out behind the scenes. Finally, on the Irish Times, in terms of the broadsheets, catering on deportation flights was changed after pork sausages were included as part of an Irish breakfast served on a forced return flight to Pakistan, according to a human rights monitoring report. The first chartered deportation flight transporting 24 adult men to the country, which has a majority Muslim population, took place on September 23rd, 2025. A human rights monitor travelled on board along with Gardaí, a doctor and interpreter. A monitor is appointed by the Department of Justice for each deportation flight to report on the operation, the treatment of returnees, use of restraint, and to make recommendations to note exceptionally good practice. So they've got rid of the pork sausages. And it's just interesting that you have a human rights monitor. Like, say, for instance, for these flights, is there a human rights monitor for the defective concrete box crisis, for an example? I mean, has the government appointed one? I'm not comparing two things. It's very important, of course, that people's culture is respected, isn't it, as they're put on a plane to fly home. But they've got literally people on there to make sure their human rights are being protected. And I just wonder, in other areas of society, is there a human rights oversight for children with additional needs to ensure that they get timely access to CAMS and timely access to occupational therapy, etc.? Is there a human rights advocate there to ensure that, downgraded homeowners get the justice that they deserve in the defective concrete block crisis? I don't think so. Maybe there is. It'd be great if there were. On to the Sun now, and we did have that 24-hour stoppage by ambulance drivers last week. There is a 48-hour strike looming. Efforts ongoing to try and avert that, and it is something we do. Like, it will be sorted. This will be sorted. It always is. There's no pay dispute that rumbles on and isn't ever. This will be sorted. So it was very important that everybody tries to crack their heads together and get it sorted before we have to endure a 48-hour strike, because this, as I said last week, could have serious consequences for patients. Ambulance workers have vowed to return to the picket lines if meaningful progress is not made in talks. National Ambulance Service staff held a 24-hour strike last week. Members of unions Unite and SIPTU walked off the job amid a new row over pay. Their furious management have failed to hike their wages to compensate for a significant increase in their duties. A 48-hour stoppage due to take place on Tuesday and Wednesday was rescheduled so talks could take place. But unions have warned the work to rule action, which took place last Monday, is still in place, and a planned 72-hour stoppage due to take place on May 26th will go ahead if no deal has been reached. So we do have a bit of breathing room there, and hopefully that room is used to come up with an acceptable agreement. And that work to rule still not insignificant, but it just doesn't have the same impact on patients as the all-out strike might have. The WHO has declared Ebola outbreak a public emergency, and references this not to get anyone's back up. This is not like COVID was, for an example, though if it was like COVID, I'll tell you, with Ebola, there'd be queues out the street for vaccines, no doubt, because it's a very nasty condition with a 1 in 3 mortality rate. And there's been a big outbreak. Now, the last time there was a big outbreak a couple of years ago, for instance, not that we shouldn't worry about those in the area that it directly affected, but there were 3 cases, the closest to us in Britain, and all 3 of those had been voluntary health workers. So this is not going to spread around the place like COVID, you would hope, but I'll read this anyway, just so everyone knows where we're at in world news. The World Health Organization yesterday declared the Ebola disease outbreak caused by a rare virus in Congo and neighbouring Uganda a public health emergency of international concern after more than 300 suspected cases and 88 deaths. The WHO said the outbreak doesn't meet the criteria of a pandemic emergency like COVID-19, and advised against the closure of international borders. And finally, did any of you watch the Eurovision? I mean, it would have been a programme I would have watched in the past, because it's just no harm to see how Ireland does, and if it's mentioned on the programme, just to have a bit of knowledge about it. And also, obviously, this part of it is somewhat enjoyable, or at least it was until it sort of got tied up in politics and all that jazz. Well, Bonga 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 was the winner. Dara is her name. Bulgaria's first Eurovision winner, Dara, has said she had doubt and anxiety about taking part in the song contest. But I'm asking you, was it any good if you watched it? The 27-year-old won the competition at the Wiener Stadthull in Vienna, Austria, with a new song, Banga Banga Rango. It's Banga Rango, which scored 516 points. Now, interestingly, and they say it's not political, Israel came second. Now, they had to stop Israel winning effectively, they had to sort of rejig the voting setup. So they split the votes I think it's 50% audience, 50% judges. So I would say, and I'm not sure if the information is out here yet, Israel must have won the public vote by a massive margin, I would say, to offset so that it finished second as it is. So it would make you wonder about the level of support for Israel, the sympathy maybe out there in the public, or indeed perhaps maybe Israel's ability to get the people that it needs to vote for it. England, of course, they finished last. Un point, I think is 1 point. I don't think the BBC want to win that competition anyway, because it's an absolute fortune and it costs an absolute fortune and there's no benefit to them. I don't know, when you look at it, should we ever join it again, even if Israel rehabilitates itself or is banned altogether? I don't feel we're any worse off not being in that competition. Anyway, what do you think about anything you've heard in the papers there? Anything you want to talk about, please get in touch with us. And here's a reminder how you do so.
The Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio. Text WhatsApp 086 60 25000. Call 074 91 25000 or email comments at highlandradio.com.
Newspapers are kindly supplied by Cosgrove Centra, Mountain Top Letterkenny. Now with the new look Mountain Top Diner.
The Greg Hughes Show with Letterkenny Credit Union. New to borrowing or haven't borrowed in a while? Our welcome loan is here for you. Borrow up to €50,000 at just 5.95% APR with no hidden fees ever. Apply online or in branch today at letterkennycu.ie.
Imagine your wedding at the foot of Errigal Mountain in the heart of Donegal's Gaeltacht. Anchorage Hotel in Gweedore offers elegant spaces, stunning views and every detail planned for your perfect day. Celebrate your love surrounded by Donegal's breathtaking beauty. Your dream wedding awaits at anchoragehotel.com.
The faint scent of Factor 50. It's time to dust off your "it's not burnt, it's well done" apron. You're ready to tackle the garden. And suddenly, it's the busiest room in the house. It's summer, and the Go Play Outside summer sale is now on at Home Value, with great value on barbecues, lawnmowers, garden furniture and more, from now until June 4th or while stocks last. With 88 stores nationwide, call into your local Home Value or shop online at homevalue.ie. Home Value. Trusted, local experts.
When it's time for confirmation or First Communion, it's time for a trip to Watson Menswear in Letterkenny. Choose from a great selection of top-label, casual and formal wear. Suits with matching shirts and ties, blazers, jackets and shirts. Also denims, chinos and footwear from big names like Diesel, Giovanni and Tommy Bow. And one lucky customer will win their money back. Stand out on the big day at Watson Menswear. Open 7 days a week, Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at watsonmenswear.com.
Discover the ultimate escape at the Spa at Orchids, the Holyrood Hotel, Bundoran, nominated for Spa Experience of the Year by the Irish Hotel Awards. Indulge in an oriental bamboo massage, reflexology, or choose from our signature therapies, skin glowing facials and invigorating body treatments. Couples can unwind together in twin treatment rooms or share a peaceful moment in the secret garden with outdoor hot tub. The Spa at Orchids, open daily. To buy a gift voucher or reserve your appointment, visit holyroodhotel.com.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
It's just approaching 9:22. Now, as we heard over the weekend and at the top of this programme, in our county, County Donegal, 3 men lost their lives on Saturday and Sunday, bringing the death toll on roads in County Donegal for the year to be 6. Councillor Paul Canning is Cahirlach of Donegal County Council and joins us now. And Paul, such devastation right across the county and such horrific news that we learned, and just a terrible time for communities both in the north and south of our county.
Yeah, as you said, Greg, good morning to you and good morning to your listeners. Listen, it's devastating news to have this weekend. 3 young fellas lost their lives in such tragic circumstances, and first and foremost our thoughts are with the families and condolences to them, and also our prayers are with those that are still in the in the hospital, waiting on treatment, etc. And hopefully that they make a full recovery. But devastating news for everybody in the locality, because, as you know, Donegal and Derry, such close-knit communities, and news like this just puts a numbness in everybody, and like our hearts are with all of the families. And also on that, I want to pay tribute to the emergency services that are called out in these circumstances, and they don't know what they're going to see or what they're going to face, and it must be very difficult for them. So a big thank you to them for the work that they do on a daily basis.
Yeah, indeed, and the clergy as well, who often attend these scenes in very difficult circumstances. This is not in any way to predetermine the outcome or cause, and there's never an easy time, unfortunately, in our county to talk about road safety, because unfortunately we see so many collisions and serious injury. And in fact, even on Sunday there was a further collision in the south of the county as well. Thankfully, no one seriously injured in that. I did hear calls coming from Sligo County Council for the government to treat, from someone within the council, to treat the situation on our roads. I can't remember the exact phraseology, but it was effectively as a crisis, to sort of get a team together and say, is there anything we can be doing now, and treat it as the significant issue that it is, to try and prevent the full extent of deaths that we might see over the course of this year. Do you think that that's maybe something that we should look at, a national working group to focus specifically on what short and medium term measures could be introduced?
Yeah, we are always looking at different ideas to try and make our roads safer, and all of the elected members within Donegal are steady on to council officials to get more ramps, etc. in areas, because they seem to be the only thing that works to slow traffic down. Is a physical ramp on the road. And I know a lot of these accidents, or most of these accidents, are on national roads, and we are educating, or trying to educate people as many as possible. And we do have presentations, etc., being made by a lot of people in relation to the safety of our roads, and it's just, we just have to keep harping on about it, That's the way it is.
Just in relation to just as it relates to these two locations of these collisions, and again, this is not in any way to be insensitive or predetermine any Garda forensic investigation or what have you, but both areas would be areas where the public have concern about the road layout, or the behaviour, or the how traffic is controlled in these areas. I mean, the TAI would have responsibility, at least in one of these locations. It just seems to be that the motorists and the people on the ground sort of recognise where the problems are, potentially, and I'm speaking generally here, but it takes so long to get changes implemented. Like, say, I won't go into specifics, but do you understand where I'm coming from? Like, we know these hotspots around the county, and go ahead, Paul.
I do. And whenever we put this to the TAA and people that are in road design offices, etc., they still give us the stat. We say, well, we have had one accident, and you have 300 or 3,000 or 4,000 cars using that road every day, and they don't have an accident. So that's the stats that they keep throwing back at us, even though we keep saying, like, we need to look at this and we need to look at that. And we, as I say, we just have to keep the pressure on all the time to try and make it more safe for people to use, because there is a lot of fatalities in Donegal for some reason, and we just have to look at it. And I know the vehicles are getting much quicker, and the distractions are becoming more and more evident with phones and with everything that's attached to a car now. That takes people's concentration to a different place.
And I
so there's a lot of things that goes on that needs to be looked at.
100%, and I do understand what you're saying, and you're quite right. There are three elements really to safety on the road. There's driver behaviour, there's the condition of the vehicle, and third, and really quite importantly, is the condition or the layout or the setup of the roads. And we often focus on the first two, we're speaking generally now, and not as much on the third, if you know what I mean. It just seems that the first two are what we always hear about, and quite rightly, and we should continue to do so. But then when you start talking about what can often be the third contributing factor, i.e. the condition of the road, the set speed limits, enforcement, and what have you, it kind of all of a sudden we end up going back to the first two, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense, and we have looked at situations where we see whenever you go down the country where you see a stretch of road that has been monitored through the speed camera. We have a speed camera located in between Manor Cunningham and Newton Cunningham, and it does its job for 100 metres. When you go down the country, there's they have a certain point, a finishing point that does a speed limit for maybe 10 or 20 miles, where they do the average speed. And that seems to be something that we need to look at. So if you have an average speed,
it wouldn't be
complicated.
Exactly. So you could have, and people, you see, this is when we get into a space where next thing you know, motorists start going, I'm interested in road safety, but at the end of the day, we have to do all we can. So if you had an average speed camera from Ballybofey to Donegal Town, from Ballybofey to Letterkenny, from Letterkenny to Lifford, from Letterkenny to Bridgend, for an example, and then if you use Letterkenny to Dunfanaghy or wherever, in fairness to the local authority members, all for the couple of days last week and even into this week, you guys are coming up with suggestions. You're saying, look, the traffic through Kilmacrennan is crazy. We need to do something about it. So we as the public need to understand, as much as you can do, the local authority members are sort of trying to bring it up, and as I say, we've carried it extensively over the last 5 or 6 days, but it stops there for some reason. The local authority members who speak on behalf of the public, I think we can say, right, their calls, their common sense suggestions fall on deaf ears, and yet we're left then to pick up the pieces when there's these inevitable tragedies. Yeah, that's correct. That's what we come up against all the time, and no matter what the subject is, and that's where we just have to keep as the man says, keep at it. But we are looking at a lot of different avenues, and that is one of the avenues that they are looking at. But it takes a lot of time at times, and you wonder, nationally, why it takes so long. But we do need to look at slowing down the speed on our roads. Because that's, at the end of the day, the vehicles are travelling far too fast, and it is. Some of those vehicles, the dangers that they create a lot of the time with the speed, is just phenomenal. So I think we do need to take a serious look at ourselves and see what we need to do to make our roads safer. All right, okay. Thank you very much indeed for your time, Councillor Paul Canning, who is the Cearhiarloch of Donegal County Council. And I'm watching the ticker scroll by as we're having that conversation. For those of you who are watching, traffic concerns being raised about Dromahal School. We do it all the time here. There is, would there be a dozen of places where we know that there is a higher risk of something happening, and I don't know, we just need to sort of start saying, when are we actually going to really start doing something about that? Finally, and I'm sure it's very, very clear that our conversation, mine and Paul's conversation, isn't relating to the events of the weekend. It's about talking about what can be done into the future to try and mitigate as much as is possible. Because, as I say, we're up here in the Northwest, and year to date, there are 26 counties in the Republic of Ireland, including these figures, and we're very close to 10% of the total of deaths on our roads. And that's not a percentage or a number. These are real people with real families, real communities, and it's tough. There's going to be a lot of I'm thinking of these 3 young lads that have lost their lives, and I know some of the friends of some of these boys as well, and there's going to be 20, 25-year-old young lads having to put on black suits and go to their funerals, and the impact it'll have on them and their mental well-being. And that just is part of the ripple effect of these tragedies. And as I say, that's not to mention the mums and the dads and the brothers and the sisters and the aunts and uncles and granny and granddads who are devastated by these events. So generally speaking, going forward, anything we can do to try and reduce it, I think at this point we should be reducing it. And some of the stuff that's been done, some of the knee-jerk stuff, really wasn't, it was messing around the edges. It doesn't really talk about the main problems that we have and on the roads that we have them.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
There's a new Irish Pride, so fresh and so nice. Packed full of fibre in the same classic slice. A new freshly baked white, the pan is its name. Plus sandwich, big toast, whole meal and whole grain. Irish Pride with more fibre, I said. It's the best sliced bread since sliced bread.
Start gently brushing your baby's teeth when their first tooth appears. Use water and a small, soft toothbrush twice a day to keep their teeth and mouth healthy. Visit mychild.ie for advice on pregnancy, baby and toddler health.
All inspiring, all yours. Discover your 262 Audi with Audi All Access from May 15th to 25th at dealerships nationwide. Experience powerful performance up close with thrilling test drives across the full Audi range. Exciting offers and exclusive product packs available for a limited time. All access to Audi is all yours. Audi. Vorsprung durch Technik. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you tired of vacuuming every day? There's a smarter way to clean with Dreamy RoboVacs at Ben Sweeney Euronics that not only vacuum but also mop and even empty themselves. With detangling technology, so there's no more tangled hair, and an extendable side brush for getting into corners, you can sit back and let the robot do the work. Dreamy RoboVacs starting at just €249 at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Fort Road Letterkenny and in the shopping centre Dunlow.
Cut your motoring costs with Heron Auto Donegal Town. Make the switch to the Kia EV range. Just €50 can take you up to 800 kilometres. With over 7 new Kia EV models in stock and the all-new EV2 now available, there's never been a better time to go electric. Enjoy 0% finance and a free home charger. So why wait? Call Heron Auto today. Drive with confidence. Drive with Heron Auto Donegal Town.
Irish strawberry season is here. Let the fun begin. Pick up a punnet of Keeling's Irish strawberries in store today. Tasty, sweet, feel-good fruit. Fresh from our farm. Love that Keeling's feeling.
Now, as you would know, if you're a regular listener to this show, we speak regularly about scams because it's like whack-a-mole. You kind of try and get an awareness out of one scam to get awareness out about one scam, and then another one pops up. And unfortunately, back in the day, what were scams? You'd get a letter from a prince somewhere saying that he'd inherited billions and you could have a slice of it. But now, in this day and age, we're contactable in all means. Our information has been leaked to a great extent as well. So, in other words, we're always, it feels, 1 or 2 steps behind the scammers. So that's what makes it even more important, I think, when sort of people speak out, having been the victim of it. Because often what we do is we kind of feel like, oh, I can't believe I got caught out by that one. And we don't even tell the guards in some cases. So that's why I think it's so great that Amy Donaghy is joining me now to discuss, unfortunately, a scam that she was subjected to. Is it Amy or Amy Donaghy?
It's Amy.
Amy, I got it right the first time. How are you, Amy? Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Right, now, you got done by a scammer and it was relating to car insurance. So what happened?
Yeah. So basically last year I took out car insurance with a broker and then I got stopped by the police and they said you're not insured, but I had paid for the insurance and everything was thinking I was insured. Got sent documents to my email that looked really legit. Then I got pulled over by the police and they said I wasn't insured and I was like, I've paid for insurance, and I showed them stuff and they were like, well, you're not coming up as insured, you're not insured, and that broker's fake. So I had to go through court and the judge was kind of like, no insurance means a fine, penalty, or driving ban.
Mm.
So I was just like, oh my god. But then my solicitor kind of fought my point to say that she had paid for her insurance. She thought she was insured, and she had no idea that she wasn't insured. So then it had to be adjourned for 2 weeks, and the judge came back then to say that I didn't get anything, no fine, no anything.
Yeah, but that was down to good legal representation you had. You know, if it had been the other way, you could have been walking out the victim of a crime, and also, you know, having to pay for that in many years to come in different ways. How did you come across the broker? Because, you know, you sound like a young person, Amy, so you just invested in a car. I think you spent £500 and £5,000 in a car, which is no mean feat, and then the insurance on top of that. So how did you find this broker, or how did you come to deal with them?
It was being promoted on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And a few of my friends actually had got insurance off them, so I just thought that it was right.
Yeah, well, I think that's fair enough. Was it a physical person, someone based in a particular place, or was it sort of like an online service, Amy? As much as I don't think at this point we can name anybody, but I'm just trying to get a sense of how this company presented itself.
Yeah, it was an online company.
Did in the process of, you don't use in Northern Ireland, you don't actually have do you have an insurance disc on your windscreen? You don't, do you?
I don't think so, no.
Right, okay. So is there any way that we have to actually check if our insurance is our insurance? Because who's to say? There could be, you know, thousands of people driving around the north or south, for that matter, believing that they have insurance and not having insurance.
Yeah, well, you can look up your registration online.
Right.
I'm not sure what the website's called, but you can do it. So I did that after, and it was coming up as well that I wasn't insured, but I maybe should have done that before.
I don't know. I don't think that's a realistic expectation. Maybe it is now, but at the time, I think, you know, you'd done the deal, you exchanged the money, you'd got emails that gave the impression that you had. Did you get insurance since, out of interest?
I got insurance.
Can I ask how much it was?
My daddy had to pay for it because I just can't afford it at all.
No, I was just curious if he was like sort of trying to tease you with half price insurance, or if he or she was charging you the full whack. Right, and again, thankfully you had good legal representation, Amy, so this doesn't follow you around. It's bad enough being out the money, right? Okay, well, listen, safe travels. Thanks for helping us get that message out there. Just would you sort of say, be very cautious for these types of services, or any types of services, engaging on social media like that, you know, maybe with a company that, you know, doesn't necessarily have a reputation out there?
It's so easy to fake everything online these days. So
true, yeah.
If it's too good to be true, then it's definitely too good to be true.
Yeah, okay. Listen, thank you very much for that. Thanks for helping us get the message out to others. Look after yourself.
No problem.
Thank you very much indeed. So there you are, Amy engaging with an online broker. Her friends had also been customers and victims of this person. It could be a man or a woman or a collective, I don't know. But it just goes to show to be extra careful, because, you know, she got away with it in that case. I think in future cases, maybe a judge might argue, well, there's been other cases out there and you should know, and this, that and that. So just be extra careful there. Have you any information or knowledge of that you can add? 086 60 25,000. Got a note in from a listener. We stuck this up on our social media as well, just to see what kind of reaction it might get. Hello, says this listener. I hear what you're saying about disabled parking spots, but could you address people who park in the child parent parking spots who don't have any kids getting out from their car? I have 3 sons under 6 years of age who have autism. When no child parent parking spots aren't available, it's tricky at times getting him out of the car without throwing out the car door at times, which can hit other cars. And it's awkward for me trying to keep him in one spot, so I believe one child has autism, sorry. It's difficult trying to keep him in one spot without running out in front of cars with the tight spaces available in regular parking spots. I really need the child parent parking spot, and when people park in this spot without any children at all, to me it's just as bad as parking in a disabled parking spot when you and your passenger doesn't have a disability. Yeah, okay. How big is that? I think to some extent, now most of the places I go, but I don't be in Letterkenny, for an example, or other big urban areas. Most of the places I go, there are free parent and toddler spots. Is there a widespread abuse of it? This listener obviously knows, they're living through this. But do people sort of see it as a victimless crime? Do they sort of go, well, it's not for people with a disability, it's just for handy for mums and dads? And I wonder, do you maybe sometimes not consider that there are many parents like this who maybe, want to take their children shopping with them, and they need those spots with the wider spaces closer to the shop, etc. So just what do you think about that? Is there a widespread problem of people abusing the children parent parking spots? Why is that? Maybe it's a lack of knowledge. Maybe I'm being too forgiving. Maybe it's just willful ignorance. Right, I'm going to take a break. We're going to be talking football. And what a weekend of football it was to Armagh. I didn't realise, I don't know why, I didn't realise that it was so long since they enjoyed Ulster's success. Westmeath were amazing. You often wonder, wouldn't you? I'll put this to Brendan, he's going to join me shortly. You'd often wonder, what's next after Jim McGuinness's term? Who's going to take over the reins? Well, we could be blooding someone down in Westmeath. Right. Anything to say about any of that? 086 60 25,000. Brendan Devaney with me after the break.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Big plans, big dreams. Home improvement loans, borrow up to €80,000. Visit letterkennycu.ie today.
Tugann custí forbartha pobl áitiúil nó CFPána, cólachtaí poiblí agus agrachtaí pobl le chéile le béim a chur chur chuige cóháite le forbart áitiúil agus phobal. Mátá buinte agat le club, grúpa dónach nó muna bhfuil tú ach a ggéirigh seirbhísí pobl níos fearr de cheantar, túr cuairt gov.ie/LCDC a ggur tuilleolalas. Ar CFPána ag forbart pobl níos fearr le chéile. Tionscanmh de chuid na rinne forbartha tua agus pobl agus gaeltachta agus rialtas áitiúil éireann.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is now €3,150 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo Burnfoot tonight at 8:30.
Bhela tús a chur le de aistear le hintelucht héarga? Ní gádait gachrad a bheith arolalas a god faoin technoliacht. Buin an intlucht héarga le gnáúr le sí atá nán cabhrú leat. Bhaulim conas intlucht héarga a úsáid chun am a hábháil, a bheith agrathe, agus fannacht sábháilte líne. Baig tuile ólis ag aiready.ie. Se tachtaireacht ó rialtas na héireann.
Teatrad ó tharla condaíún an ngáil. An bhfuil spéisio go drod ag an cruthí a dhéanamh i mí na Baltaine. Tá comhairle condaíún na ngáil ag tuairt carú deid ag féile na Baltaine. Ceillarú fág mísa an chruthaíocht agus na halaine. Bé an éile seo siúil fod fad an chondaí, idir cheol, álainn, cheardlanna, scanainn agus chaintine. Is cinnte go mé amach siúil congra deid. Tá go leordan na hamachtaí séar an aisce. Mar sin, bí ran fáirte an tú. Tapaí an deis tríal a bhaintes runte dúir. Buaile daoine agus ban lán sprí as na chruthaíocht a de phobal héan. Fai sonraí na namachtaí Donegalculture.ie ná buailisteach ag de leorlan éitiúil. Féile na Baltaine, bí páirte, bí sprácha, le comhairle condaíún na ngáil.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Get sorted for summer adventures with our extensive range of fashion, accessories, luggage, sun care and more. Explore our summer collection in-store or shop online at mcelhennys.com.
So, expect cloudy skies with current temperatures at 10 degrees, a humidity level of 79% and southeast winds at around 5 miles per hour. Over the course of the day, conditions will shift to light rain with a high temperature of 13 degrees, dropping to a low of single-digit 5 degrees tonight. Not fantastic for grass growth, that is it? Well, anyway, we're joined on the programme now by Brendan Devaney, presenter of Highland Radio's DL Debate podcast, which is available for you tonight, live on the radio at 7. Hi, Brendan.
Hey, Greg, my grass is growing too fast. I can't keep up with it. I don't know what to...
Well, you see, that's because
I'm
life
too lazy.
life works like that. You don't really want the grass, so it's grown like bejesus. And
I need that robot. I need that robot, Jock. I can't be... I don't have time for this garden at the minute.
well, can I say I got one?
Oh, did you?
I did, and it's amazing. It's astonishing.
There you go.
But if you want a recommendation on which one to get, I'll let you know.
Can you give me a line of it?
Yeah, I will. Yeah. Westmeath beat Dublin yesterday by 228-26, and they beat them. They beat them after extra time as well. They survived a comeback. And just found that I think last week we were talking about grit and resilience and finding something when you need it, weren't we? And you says maybe Cork didn't have it and another team did. Well, Westmeath had it in abundance yesterday. What an amazing achievement for that county and our own Mark McHugh.
Yeah, listen, as I say, what a story. Just missed out in promotion. Obviously got relegated last year. Mark was in there as a coach with Dermot McCabe, who's took over Cavan since. But, first big job. Mark had been coaching different teams around the country, and I suppose the experience of all that led him into his first management role here. So, what a season. To beat Meath was unbelievable. To come through the Kildare game as well. And then the Dublin game, particularly after Dublin played against Louth, they looked like they were on it again. They only could see the 10 points. Conor Killen was to be back, and everything was pointing to a Dublin victory. But the last time they played, 2017, Dublin beat them by 34 points. Like, so you knew going into this game it was going to be a lot tighter. But look, Loughlin, their main striker, he is their talisman. He is their Michael Murphy. He was missing. So everything was pointing towards a Dublin victory, but it just shows, as you said there, Greg, that bit of grit and bit of belief Mark has put into him with his backroom team. So what a day for Westmeath.
Yeah, managers can go into big teams that are in the doldrums, and turn things around but this is a different story altogether. He's brought it's not a top 8 team, right? But he's brought them to glory, generational glory. Like what does that say about him as a manager? What's he doing? Is it getting the right players? Is it the right training schedule, right training regime, but also getting the heads right?
Yeah, it's a combination of everything, Greg. And I suppose first year into, sometimes you get a bounce. The last time they won Leinster, Paddy O'Shea came in, and it was just a one first season kind of lift too. And sometimes you can get that big bounce. If you look at Tyrone a few years back when Mickey Hart retired. Fergal Logan's actually on the show later. He came in and, Tyrone won All Ireland, and you got that big bounce on the first year. So listen, new people coming in, fresh approaches, a couple of coaches in there from Tyrone along with them as well. So certainly they've found the right mix. And I think now, what you're looking at the provincials has been brilliant now. What was happening when the group stages of the championship really started to take over, you're thinking, right, the provincials are a bit of a hindrance, particularly the teams in Ulster. But really what you're looking at, Westmeath can't win the All-Ireland. But here they are having a massive day in Leinster.
Why can't they win it?
Listen, listen, Dublin aren't the Dublin of old. Leinster has been weakened somewhat. Obviously Meath, I think will come back, maybe be better as the championship goes on. But if you look at the ingredients to go all the way, that's not a realistic possibility for Westmeath. They might do well in the group stages. But like a lot of teams, Greg, look at Roscommon, the Bulls and the Hyde. So provincials, as we've taken away maybe some of that group stage type of mentality into the All-Ireland series, it's pushed back a bit of the light onto the provincials, and they've all been brilliant except for Munster. Munster's been the only letdown. The other 3 provincials have been great. Yeah,
Armagh edged out Monaghan. Great weekend for the bookies, it has to be said. Armagh 228, Monaghan 25 points. Amazing scenes in Clonus, and I'm sure in Armagh afterwards. It meant so much to them, having not really picked up that title for quite some time.
Massive, Greg. Listen, I was up covering the game yesterday. The atmosphere was electric up there. Listen, Monaghan just never say die. You got to hand it to them. I know Armagh looks like they pulled away towards the end there, but the effort that was put in was unbelievable, because Armagh were controlling the game at times, but Monaghan just wouldn't let it lie, wouldn't let it slip. There was some massive moments, huge 2-pointers, and it had everything, Greg. But interestingly, obviously, like Armagh, every year they just wanted to win Ulster again. First time since 2008, and previous to that they'd won 7 of the 10 years previous. So they had bossed Ulster. So to go on such a barren run like this, no one would have seen that coming. And this was the 4th game, 4th year in a row, 4th final went to extra time. But they finally got across the line. I'll tell you, they were glad they weren't playing our boys. That's the only thing, Greg.
Yeah, we're a bit closer now to the big game for Donegal v Kerry. You're going to preview that this evening. Last week, talking to you, I'm not sure if you wanted us to win or lose in terms of what's coming down the line, right? Do we know any more, or have you any sort of firmer feeling about how that game is going to go next week?
Yeah, well, listen, we want to win. I was saying it's the mindset of it is if we went down there maybe too pumped, maybe and went after them like we did in the league final.
Yeah, we'd have to pay the price later down the line.
But I think, Greg, looking at it, the only time we could potentially play them possibly would be an All-Ireland final or something, and who knows what will happen in between there. So, listen, go down, job number 1, go down and win the match, Greg. Listen, obviously Kerry at home. Kerry nearly have 2 teams, Greg. They have, by far, as we've seen now with all these injuries, the best squad in the country, hands down, because they were able to cope with Cork with about 78 players missing and another 4 or 5 going off injured, and they still were too good for Cork. So, listen, they'll be up for this. It'd be really interesting just to see how Donegal play after what happened in Letterkenny.
So we haven't a clue. We don't really have a clue. We don't know. This sounds like speaking negatively against the team, but I'm not. But we don't know what Donegal team's going to turn up. We have maybe a little bit more certainty about Kerry. Am I being dramatic there?
No, that's fair enough, because we were so out of sorts and down, and now we've had this layoff going into Kerry. And as you're right, Kerry in the Munster final looked themselves. They did the job that they needed to do. And, in Clifford inside, they isolated him, and he's just awesome. Listen, he can just carry that team along. No disrespect to the other players that's on the pitch there. So, listen, you're going down in there, and obviously there'll be a lot of pride. There'll still be that hurt from that league final. So I'm sure that'll be, Kerry will be using that in the build-up to the game in terms of Donegal doing a job on them. So they'll be looking to bring that back. But listen, because Donegal have had that layoff and they're stung now, there's nothing like Jim and them to come in with, that bit of purpose to address what happened in the down game and show that Donegal are still All-Ireland contenders. Sure. So listen, it's set up for a fascinating game. Myself and Oisin and Brendan will be down bringing Brendan Kilcoyne, bringing all the action.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. You got lucky enough to get accommodation, I hope. And, also to... I personally, because I'm more of an armchair fan, of course, I always presume that we have the tactical advantage because of just the reputation of Jim McGuinness as well. But I mean, you seen yesterday in some of the games, and you see all the time, Kerry are down there plotting to undo what they expect Donegal to do to them. Do you know what I mean? So it's not just the 30 players in the pitch and subs. It's also to who has the tactical advantage as well.
Exactly. The amount of trawling over videos and tactics, and then putting those tactics into training through formations, and whether it be kickouts or your attack and play, or trying to get the right people on the right ball at the right times. You've seen it yesterday. If you look at, say, Monaghan from Derry, they're very poor in the Derry kick-out, squeezing on it, and that's what led to Derry going to be such a leader. A big part of that there, so you could see yesterday they were trying to nullify that the same way Armagh on Began's kick-out. So there's so much strategizing going on in the background there, particularly for that initial possession, because when teams get it now, it's very hard to get off them. Now, that's it yesterday again. It means so many dry games there. That slippy ball created, so much drama yesterday between players slipping and coughing up possession. So something like that can change the dynamic of the game down in Killarney. But certainly, tactics now, Donegal really did a job in Kerry the last day. So both sides will be looking at that, what went well and how do we counteract it.
Fascinating as always, and there's going to be much more conversation about that on the show this evening. Brilliant guests, of course, particularly looking forward to the weekend to get some different eyes on it, but also being able to reflect on the weekend that passed. Guests, Kerry legend Sean O'Sullivan, Slot Neil coach Gary McDade, and former Tyrone All-Ireland manager who you referenced a little earlier on, Fergal Logan. It's a good lineup.
Yeah, and we squeeze a bit of information, at least Kerry boys, they're very cute now. So,
yeah, but they're so cute, we don't want them to give us wrong information. So just be careful. Don't. All I'm saying is don't trust him completely.
Yeah, Gabriel Brannigan read out the Monaghan team there, the coffee morning there, and there was a big round of applause. And of course, there was 3 changes in before it. So
All right, listen, have a good eat. That's Brendan Davelli, DL Debate after the 7 o'clock news this evening.
The Greg Hughes Show with Letterkenny Credit Union, powering your plans with fast digital loans. Apply online or through our app in minutes and get funds straight into your current account. Easy, quick and convenient. And our digital offering perfectly complements the friendly face-to-face service you know and trust.
Coming this June, Highland Radio is launching 30 Days of Good Deeds in association with Mo Cushla Foundation. We're asking you to do something kind, big or small, share it with us, nominate someone else and donate just €5 to some very worthy charities. Let's make June a month of good across Donegal. Find out more at 30daysofgooddeeds.com.
Make a splash with Aura Leisure Swim Academy. Our fun, friendly children's swim lessons teach a lifelong skill and a safe and supportive environment. Give your child confidence in the water and in life. Find us at 10 convenient locations across Ireland, including Aura Letterkenny. Visit auraleisure.ie/swim to dive in today.
The Right Price Tiles Wood Flooring and Bathware. We've lost our marbles clearance sale. Get up to 70% off all your favourite products. Everything's in stock. No waiting for months and no sneaky price hikes. Just premium quality that won't break the bank. The up to 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles Wood Flooring and Bathware. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
When it's gone, it's gone. This week's new Wigging at Home Store and More. All Hotel Collection duvet sets are all half price. But better hurry, because when all our half-price Hotel Collection duvet sets are gone, they're gone. Also, all swing chairs are still half price, and all barbecues are still 1/3 off. But when our swing chairs and barbecues Wiggings are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Join David James and friends this Thursday night in the Clanry Hotel as David launches his new album, The Waltz of Life. Special guests include Patrick Finney, Claudia Buckley, Hugo Duncan, Grania Gavigan and Conor O'Donnell. Doors open 8:30 with dancing from 9. Don't miss the David James album launch in the Clanry this Thursday night.
McGowan Hearing, one of the longest established audiologists in the Northwest, now have weekly clinics in Letterkenny, Buncrana and Carndonna. Book your free hearing aid consultation at one of these clinics or with audiologist Darren McGowan in your own home. Call 07191 00208 or visit mcgowanhearing.com.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. It's been a weekend of road tragedy in the region. The PSNI have confirmed one person is dead following a 2-vehicle collision in Omagh yesterday morning. Detective Inspector Dave Stewart from the Collision Investigation Unit says police received a report at around 9:10 of a collision involving a Volvo and a Mazda in the Clanaboggan Road area. In Donegal, 3 men lost their lives on Saturday, bringing the death toll on the roads for the year in the county to 6. A man in his 20s, believed to be from Derry, died in hospital after his car crashed near Muff shortly before 10 o'clock on Saturday night, while 2 men died in a collision on the N15 near Donegal town on Saturday afternoon. They've been named locally as 30-year-old Keelan Bush from Letcher Barrow and Leon Shovlin, who was in his 20s and originally from the Ardra area. Well, on today's Greg Hughes Show, Donegal County Council Cathaoirleach Paul Canning said this is heartbreaking news for all involved.
Devastating news for everybody in the locality because, as you know, Donegal and Derry, such close-knit communities, and news like this just puts a numbness in everybody, and like our hearts are with all of the families. And also on that, I want to pay tribute to the emergency services that are called out in these circumstances, and they don't know what they're going to see or what they're going to face, and it must be very difficult for them.
Trade union representatives are meeting with the HSE in the Labour Court in the next hour in a bid to solve their pay dispute. It follows a 24-hour strike by more than 2,000 ambulance workers last week. That saw pickets at ambulance stations right across Donegal and elsewhere. With more, here's Jessica Woodlock.
Last Thursday, SIP2 Unite and the HSE met with the Labour Court to discuss terms around finding a solution to the pay dispute. Both sides agreed to meet again today, with the planned 48-hour strike by ambulance ambulance workers this week stood down. Trade unions are calling for the HSE to honour a previous pay agreement and to give them what they say is what they're owed due to upskilling and increased demands. While the HSE have said they've met continuously with representatives over the past 2 years in an effort to come to an agreement. Talks will kick off later this morning, and ambulance workers are warning industrial action is on the cards if a solution isn't found.
President Catherine Connolly begins an official 3-day visit to Britain today. Her engagements are set to include a meeting with King Charles on what is her second overseas trip since becoming president. It follows a summit in Spain last month. She'll also meet with members of the Irish community in London and Leeds and attend a reception hosted by the Irish ambassador. The Taoiseach says good progress is being made to resolve issues for thalidomide survivors, but there is still no date for a state apology. The drug was given to pregnant women in the 1950s and 60s for morning sickness, but was withdrawn after it was found to cause severe birth defects. The government committed to making the formal apology as soon as possible in February. Well, survivor Finola Cassidy from the Irish Thalidomide Association says the Taoiseach and Taoiseach are taking personal responsibility for handling redress for them.
The two leaders, both Taoiseach and Taoiseach, we've had various processes over many, many years that have absolutely led to nowhere and to nothing. And I'm in and out of Leinster House almost as regularly as some of the TDs themselves. And we know that we have huge support. Even within the cabinet, I know that we have huge support. You know, I would love to lock everybody into a room, let nobody sit down and stay there for 2 days to finish everything.
Members of the public are being invited to attend a public information event in Strabane to discuss and learn more about the £115 million Strabane Town Centre regeneration programme. The event at Room 5 in Strabane Library gets underway at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And in international news, the World Health Organization admits there are significant uncertainties around the true number of people infected with Ebola. An outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has led to at least 80 deaths, with hundreds of suspect cases recorded. The WHO has classified it as a public health emergency of international concern. Professor Sam McConkey from the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland says it is worrying, but Ireland, he says, is well prepared.
For the Sierra Leonean outbreak of 2014, there were cases in USA, Nigeria, Senegal, Spain, Mali and UK from travel. Now, if a case did come here to Ireland, I would be comfortable that we have the PPE, we have the isolation, we have the public health, and we have the really high quality intensive care to manage and support that person and look after them in a way that doesn't transmit the virus to others.
Weather forecast dry with brighter sunny spells for much of the day. Any isolated mist or fog this morning will clear shortly, becoming more cloudy as the day goes on. Rain spreading from the southwest in the evening in top temperatures of 12 to 15 degrees Celsius. Light variable breezes increasing moderate to fresh later. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. In the interim, check all today's news on highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Monday morning, May 18th. The death has occurred of Samuel George Sayers, 37, Donnybrook Road, Drummond, Dunnamana. Funeral leaving his late home on Wednesday at 1:45, followed by a service of thanksgiving for his life in Dunnamana Presbyterian Church at 1:30. Burial afterwards in Mountcastle Cemetery. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu, if desired, to Dunnamana Presbyterian Church or Mary Curie, care of Mrs. Ruth Hay, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Michael Joseph O'Donnell of Pickering, Ontario, formerly of Lettermack Award. Funeral arrangements to be confirmed later. In lieu of flowers, donations can be made to the Canadian Cancer Society or the Canadian Lung Association. The death has occurred of James Mitchell, 33 Main Street, Sion Mills, formerly of St Johnston. James will repose at his mother's residence, 1 Finside Close, Lifford, today and tomorrow from 1 o'clock until 9 o'clock on both days. Parking's available at Clonley Social Centre. Funeral from his mother's residence on Wednesday morning at 10:15, travelling to St Baithan's Church, St Johnston for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by burial in Ulex Cemetery, Letterkenny. The death has occurred of Michael Keogh, St Martin's, Ballynally, Moville. Michael's remains are reposing today from 2 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Pius X Church, Moville, followed by burial in Ballybrack Cemetery. The family home is private for the funeral tomorrow. Requiem Mass can be viewed live on movilleparish.com. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu, if desired, to the Patients Comfort Fund, Carndonagh Community Hospital, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Marianne McBride Murlock Downing's. Funeral Mass in the Church of St John the Baptist, Carrigart, this morning at 11 o'clock, followed by burial in the Old Umla graveyard. The death has taken place of Hugh Brown, 3 Glenside Strabane, formerly of Bernay. Funeral leaving his home this morning at 10:25 for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception Strabane at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the Sacred Heart Cemetery, Derry Road. No flowers, please. Donations in lieu of flowers to the Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to the Renal Unit OMA, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Hans Heinrich Vermley, Castle Street, Ramelton, formerly of Strassala Glenties, reposing at his home, which is strictly private. Private cremation at Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan, on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Family flowers only. Donations, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of Patrick Sweeney Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Mary Gallagher, née Callahan, in Navanny Street, Ballybuffet, reposing at her late residence today from 12 noon until Rosary at 9. Funeral leaving there tomorrow at 11:15 for Requiem Mass and 12 noon in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads. Interment in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish YouTube channel. Family time, please, before the funeral tomorrow. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio.
You're flat out, and your to-do list is growing by the minute. But unfortunately, so is your headache, and now you've gone from flat out to flattened. Luckily, Panadol Extra Film-Coated tablets are boosted by caffeine, and they get to work in as little as 10 minutes. For powerful relief that's more than just paracetamol, that's one for Panadol. Speed based on absorption data, contains paracetamol. Always read the label or leaflet.
On air, online, and on your smart speaker. The Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio.
Welcome back. Welcome into the second hour of the show. By the way, big congratulations to Martin Orr. He's one of the hardest working fundraisers around Letterkenny and beyond. And yesterday he was surprised during his gig in Voodoo as the first recipient of the Highland Radio Hero Awards. The terminology's just slipped my mind. Caroline will remind me anyway. But the actual name of the initiative yesterday that Martin Orr won, Community Hero. That's it. Yeah, the Community Hero Award. So congratulations to you, Martin. Richly deserved. Great video up there as well, and you can just see by the reaction on that the importance that. The regard with which you're held in, if you didn't know it already. So again, a big congratulations. And I'm not just saying that because you mentioned me in the video, by the way. I was going to say that anyway. Right, let's get to some of your comments coming in so far this morning on parking in the spaces that are reserved for toddlers and parents. On child parking spots, there's definite abuse of these spots. It's not easy getting babies or toddlers out of car seats, but yesterday at Lidl in Letterkenny, a car pulled into the parent and child spot and 5 full-grown men got out. This is one example, but I've seen many people pull in and get out for their shopping with no child inside. On that insurance scam we talked of, Greg, you can check your insurance in the north of Ireland by checking askmib.com. That's the Motor Insurance Bureau. Effective, great. I wonder is there a similar one in the Republic? So that's askmib.com. That's to check your insurance in the north. And maybe you can do that now. It would be no harm. But do we have a similar database in the south, I wonder? Back on the roads. Morning. Drivers here in Buncrana are appalling. It's getting worse. Our car was hit at the back and the front within 3 months, and both drivers were on their phones. It's lawless. I see them every day dodging the guards. No tax, insurance, nothing. Unfortunately, we will not change that mindset. Another. There's a fixed speed camera located on the Derry Road near Newtown Cunningham. It's a revenue generator because of its location. Why isn't it in the gap on the long straight of the road? It wouldn't generate enough revenue on a straight road because it would be seen easier. That's outside a school, and that's a school that this road was built beside, and it slows the traffic down there. so I'm not dead against that. I think wherever those cameras are, this is why just in case people aren't aware how the average speed cameras work. So say, for instance, if you were leaving out the Donegal Road Ballybofey, a camera takes a picture of your number plate and it logs you. And then say, for instance, you're hitting the roundabout there at Donegal Town and another camera registers your number plate. Now, it's worked out, if you to do the speed limit, how long it should take you to get from point A to point B. And if you get there quicker, you're done for speeding. I presume most people know that, right? But I just thought I would say it in case when we talk about average speed cameras, people don't know about it. So that means effectively, unless you drive at 30 kilometers per hour half the way and 120 the rest of the way, you will have to maintain the safe legal speed or the legal speed. Even if you put that camera that you talk of in the gap, what that does is it just, like the speed vans, it slows people down for the period in advance and beyond those cameras. So that's why there's such a push for these average speed cameras. People might like them, but all they're going to do is ensure that you stay within the speed limit. And also, there's a little bit of lenience there if you accidentally went over the speed limit, overtaking or something. You know, you can sort of slow down if you were conscious of that. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but in a way, there's a little bit of understanding there. The issue is young drivers, says the listener. It's not. I'm sorry, unfortunately. You can look at the profile of the deaths on our roads, and the big mistake we can start making is if we start attributing it to a particular demographic, because it's not. It's not a particular demographic. Yes, maybe they're overrepresented, and that's something we can look at. But I think we need to approach this as, you know, all of us being conscious of how we use the roads. How about we put limiters on cars set to GPS coordinates and only allow a maximum 15 or 20 kilometers per hour for the limit to allow overtaking? They have had it in places like Japan, I believe, for decades. Yeah, but is it on all cars? You know, I've my son was on had a box in his car. Definitely would have altered driving behaviour, I would imagine, because it's not just the main roads. Like, you're starting to do 50 where it's 50, 80 where it's 80. You know, it conditions you to drive a certain way all of the time. Good morning, Greg. Councillors love wasting money. Crap speed cameras don't slow cars down. As I've said before many times, limiters on cars is the only option. That's not the councillors responsible for that, but I hear what you're saying. Another, simply limiters on all vehicles. Greg, now that this might seem trivial after 3 people died on Donegal's roads last Saturday and Sunday, but why did the Minister for Housing not visit a defective house during his visit to the county on Friday? There are enough such houses for him to visit and enough people for him to meet for whom the current scheme is not working. Why is there only 24 hours notice given of his visit, afraid of protests and protesters? Yeah, I mean, I understand the logic of getting a minister like that into a house to see firsthand. But I mean, if they don't get it at this stage, if they don't understand the situation at this point, is that going to make any difference? A couple here on the much more trivial issue of the Eurovision, but still, you know, people like to talk. I did watch the Eurovision, was fine, and I did predict Israel to win. That comes in from Gary D. I watched the Eurovision, about 5 songs that weren't ballads. Luckily, one won. Banga, banga, banga. Right, now I will get back to the roads and other matters as I take a break, because our next guest is going to join me in studio in just a couple of moments.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday the 18th of May. You're playing on the green sheet. The reference number is S1. It's game number 21. The numbers are 75, 81, 9, 24, 30, 51, 57, 68, 55, and finally 38. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Don't miss the iMotors Open Weekend, May 21st to 24th in Drumkeen. Be among the first to explore the brand new 262 range at iMotors. Thinking Kia or Nissan? Now is the perfect time to upgrade with great offers all weekend. Running from Thursday until Sunday, there's plenty of time to call in and see what's on offer. And on Saturday, Sip and Slice will be serving delicious pizza from 12 until 3 because browsing is always better on a full stomach. Visit iMotors in Drumkeen and see why drivers across Donegal choose us.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Get value you can't argue with at Tesco with their amazing club card prices. We've everything you need to get the neighbourhood together to host a street feast, with 3 for 2 across dinner kits, rices and sauces, like Dolmio and Old El Paso ranges, cheapest product free. Pair with our Board B approved Irish chicken breast fillets, sirloin steak and more, any 3 for €10. And enjoy selected Magnum 3-packs and Rantries ice lollies, now 2 for €6. Can't argue with that. Shop in store or online. Tesco. Every little helps. Available in most stores. Prices vary in Express.
Calling all parents of children starting primary school. Pop into your local Donegal library and pick up a free little library bag packed with picture books and enjoy together at home. Available in Irish or English. And why not join while you're there? Library membership is free and full of amazing stories. Check donegallibrary.ie for opening times and follow us on Facebook and Instagram for family reading fun.
The Greg Hughes Show with Letterkenny Credit Union. New to borrowing or haven't borrowed in a while? Our welcome loan is here for you. Borrow up to €50,000 at just 5.95% APR with no hidden fees ever. Apply online or in branch today at letterkennycu.ie.
Welcome back. Just a couple of messages in before I go to our next guest. Can I say a big thank you to the farmer and his daughter in the Muff area who helped for the Vintage Club. Out of a field yesterday. Many thanks. Dennis McGonigal, Main Street, Buncrana. A big happy birthday to you, Dennis. That's coming in from Annette. Right, now my next guest on the programme is Karen Quinn. Good morning, Karen.
Hello, Greg.
Thank you so much for calling in to us. How are you keeping?
I'm not too bad, thanks.
Okay, right. Now, the Irish CFS Association are holding a free public health event in Sligo on Sunday, the 24th of May. Dr. Amalak Bansal, a leading international myalgic, why did I start with this title? Are you going to help me?
Myalgic encephalic myelitis.
Okay, and chronic fatigue syndrome expert will speak at the Radisson Blue Hotel Sligo, 5:30 p.m. Now, Karen's in with us because you have ME and CFS, so that's chronic fatigue syndrome, and ME, which we generally go with because it's such a complicated title. And you also founded the Donegal ME Chronic Fatigue Syndrome Support Group. So those are the introductions out of the way. You've had ME now for 3 decades.
That's right.
Most of your adult life, by the sounds of things.
It has. I was actually a district nurse in England. I had just got married. I had everything going for me. And then I got gastric flu in Christmas 1989. I made a recovery, but I kept getting things wrong with me. I went to the doctor and it went on for a year. Then the year later, and it was March 1991, when I actually started getting not well again. And my health deteriorated and then went on for weeks and then it went on for months. I was then admitted to hospital as I couldn't walk, I couldn't barely move, I just couldn't function hardly at all. So they took me in and they did me every test they could possibly think. I'm fortunate enough, there was a consultant in England that specialised in ME at the time, and he said to me, okay, this is post-viral fatigue, hopefully you get over it in a year, but if you don't, we call it ME. And that was it. I was sent home just to be bedbound, really. There was no medication, there was nothing they can do. And this basically was 10 years of being totally bedbound.
I'm old enough to remember, certainly in this country, whereby ME, sometimes people were told it was in their head, or that, was that the case in Britain at that time? Were you just lucky to stumble across a consultant?
I was just lucky.
Okay.
For England, we was told many cases it was in our head because there's no test for ME. So they thought, okay, it's in your head because nothing's coming up saying there's absolutely anything wrong with you, even though you were feeling really not well. So I was very, very fortunate just where I lived in the part in London that this neurologist actually believed in ME.
Yeah, because it reminds me of Lyme disease, for an example.
It's very similar.
It reminds me of Addison's. Not necessarily in how it affects the patient, but in terms of trying to get a diagnosis.
Definitely.
Because I've had people, chatted to people, referred to psychologists because, the medical professional deemed it must all be in their head. It must be a psychosis or what have you. So as tough as your journey has been, at least you had recognition early on.
Definitely. And that helped because there's many people out there, even to this day, they're saying it's in your head or you're making it up. Or the one thing they kept saying is it's depression, when it wasn't. ME causes depression.
Of course it would, yeah, when you're so debilitated.
Yeah, so it's going to cause depression. But that's not the cause of ME. Most of the time, it is a virus that is causing the ME, the symptoms of being ill. Whether I had gastric flu, some people have there's another name for it. It's a virus, even like long COVID now, it's caused by a virus and people are not getting over the long COVID. So really that is stemming into ME
It's in the same space, isn't it? Virus is the one, is it, that's not responsive to antibiotics, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, so in other words, there's no early intervention in that regard that would be of any use, even with sort of an early diagnosis. In terms of treatment, because thankfully, whilst this still impacts you, you have improved, your health has improved, I understand from my notes here. But, from those early days, like, what treatment was there for you?
Nothing.
So how long were you pretty much completely incapacitated for?
It was about 10 years. It was 10 years.
That's a huge chunk of anyone's life, isn't it?
It is. It was just like laying there. We didn't have Sky. We didn't have computers. We didn't have internet. So it was just literally I just laid there.
Yeah, and it also relies on a great deal of sympathy of those around you because I presume there's that frustration. Just get up, get out. If you get out in the fresh air, you'll feel better.
Well, I used to get told, "Well, you look well."
Yeah, the hidden side of it.
I couldn't even walk. But you look well, but I was lucky to have a husband at the time and great parents and great friends at the time. And they were very, very supportive and helping me cope.
So you had a good network.
I had a very good network.
So 10 years bed ban, what happens that maybe you start getting a little bit more energy back or a little bit more mobile? Is it medication? Is it just the way the illness manifests?
It came from America, and so they was giving me vitamin B12 injections.
Mm-hmm.
So I was having them twice a week. What with other vitamins and medication. So they did try many things like magnesium to help me. There was one injection I had tried and that actually helped me a little bit, but then it made my heart go erratic, so we had to stop that. So then the injection, so I was trying that, and gradually over the next so many years I was seeing a little improvement that I could get up for a little while and things like that. So it was very, very slow. And
every time you try something new, you have to wait such a long period of time to see if it has any positive impact in you. It's
definitely
so frustrating.
And it's years. I mean, I've had it, 35, 36 years. So it is a very gradual thing. But even to this day, like I can't walk like long distances. I can't stand for very long. I've got problems with my hands, so I can't write properly because my hands go cold.
So say something like this, all right, whereby you would exercise quite a lot of nervous energy, coming in here, getting here, coming in, sitting down, doing radio. You haven't done it before.
Yeah.
Will this leave you banjacks this evening now?
Definitely. This will last me about 2 or 3 days. It has a really knocked-on effect. So if you do something today, it'll be the next couple of days, that I won't have to do anything.
And nervous energy as well as physical energy, is it?
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah. Okay.
definitely. Even like, say, if I was to sit down and start reading a book, I can't even read that for a long time. The cognitive doesn't allow you to do that, and you get really tired and things like that. I did study to be a counsellor in the north there to help people like me, and that was extremely hard because of the cognitive function. There was times I was actually in class and I was practically
There's just like a cruel irony to that, isn't it?
Yeah.
In that you want to educate yourself to help others, but that process is exacerbating your condition.
Oh, definitely. It took me longer to do the course. It took me an extra couple of years to actually do the course because of the work involved. And there's times I just couldn't go to college and things like that.
Is ME and chronic fatigue syndrome the same thing?
Yeah, it used to be called just ME, but then...
I think chronic fatigue syndrome, firstly, outside of ME, it's easier to say, but it also actually describes what you're going through. And ME is me, really, other than the big, long, blooming words. So it's a better way of expressing
but it's not, because I find the name chronic fatigue syndrome, it's just saying, oh, you've got fatigue.
You're very tired. Okay, I get you.
But
yeah.
it's just not like that. It's just there's so many other symptoms involved.
Yeah, and I think this is quite particularly important where you have hidden illnesses, whereby there's a lack of recognition, support, and understanding of ME, CFS. But that's my theory. What's your theory as someone living with it? Why do you think it is, not talked about much? There doesn't seem to be great support networks there.
There's no support network, especially I find in Donegal. I've been very alone with the illness. I have made a friend and her daughter has it. So we've been chatting, but I feel like there's no support. There's support for so many other things out there with illnesses, but there's nothing for ME. Even down to the neurologist. I went to a neurologist here when I moved over, and he said to me, I know nothing about ME, chronic fatigue, so there's no point coming. So I'm not under no specialist, nor is the other young girl, and I'm sure the other people who's suffering, there's no specialist
So
out there.
how is your treatment plan assessed? Or
There isn't.
Right, so there's no real area of expertise for people with expertise in this country for you, really, if the truth be told.
No, not here, especially in Donegal, not here at all.
And is there active, ongoing research globally to try and?
Yes, there is. There's. In England and America, with the doctor that's coming to Sligo, they're ongoing. They're trying to find, the cause. They're trying to find a test. Globally, yes, but I just feel here in Donegal, we're just left.
Yes, because it's isolation on top of isolation on top of isolation, isn't it, really? And you talked of being lucky with a good infrastructure of people around you, but still, if you can speak to other people that really fully understand it, is always helpful, isn't it?
To talk to somebody that also sort of knows what you're going through really does help, and you feel less isolated at the end of the day. And that's why I started up the Donegal support group, because I thought, well, at least if people come on, we can group chat and people know they're not actually alone out there suffering from this illness.
Do we know the sort of incidence level of ME? How many people have it in this country? Is there any figures in that regard? Yeah,
I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see. I know you're not part. I know you're not part of the. You're not associated per se with this event taking place in Sligo, but pleased to see it coming this far to the northwest. I'm sure.
Definitely, because it's getting more awareness out there. And that's what we want. We want the more awareness. We want the more support out there. Like I said, there's other illnesses out there, and they've got the support. They've got great networks, but we haven't here.
Yeah, and do you be optimistic of the future? in terms of, not generally in life, right, but on your own well-being? Like, do you sort of say, right, well, you know what, I'm young enough, maybe there might be an advance, or, you know, something that might, you know, help to restore? Because, like, I presume you have to go back over 30 years before your gastric flu to the last time you felt 100%.
Oh, definitely.
Energy-wise, like, you know.
I don't ever wake up now and feel okay.
Yeah, because whilst you're sitting here talking about it and you're not in the bed any longer, you're still far behind where you should be in terms of your health and energy levels.
I mean,
which is tough, like, it's tough.
It is tough, but it's just become part of who I am.
Yeah.
You know, part to manage it, and know my limits. I mean, I still can't walk properly. I still can't use my hands properly, but it's just part of who I am now, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I do hope, you know, in the future for other people, maybe it won't even be in my lifetime, but there will be other people, you know, there will be a test, they will find out what exactly is caused by it.
Yeah, I have polymyalgia rheumatic. Is it, ME, the same condition? Now, Karen is not an expert in all things in this space.
No.
Have you come across that before? No?
No.
Okay, nor have I. Please, could you ask if she's been tested for Lyme disease? Her symptoms are very similar to how Lyme disease has affected me. Thank you. That's kind of, I didn't want to ask you directly, but I kind of threw that out there earlier in the interview. Did you...
I don't know, to be honest.
I would be fascinated for you to get your bloods tested on Lyme disease.
I might ask for that because I don't know whether 30 odd years ago they tested for that when I was in
it's
England.
hard to get it done now, but in terms of the fatigue, bedbound, but also too, it can start having an impact on some organs, your heart, and all this type of stuff as well. You know, so your story has an awful lot of crossover with former conversations and interviews I've done with Lyme disease. So it would
okay.
And there are some good networks on that as well. It'd be interesting throwing a comment in there and just you never know. Because that's why I was asking about it being a virus and whether you got antibiotics early on, because that would be the traditional treatment for Lyme. And you have periods where you feel good and then you sort of go downhill very quickly as well. But Karen, I think it's great that we're having this conversation. And even, like, it might have nothing to do with Lyme disease, but even getting that awareness out there where we're talking about ME, we're talking about chronic fatigue syndrome, other people out there listening who recognise themselves in you getting in touch with us, you know, so that's part of what you wanted to do, isn't it? Just get that conversation out there, be seen.
Be seen, be heard, and know there is support out there. If you want to go on Facebook, we've got the Facebook up now, so, you know, come and join us so we can chat and get the more awareness out there. Yeah, definitely. I know that you're not alone at the end of the day.
For sure. And also, too, just in a series of interviews I've done recently, I mentioned Addison's a little earlier on, Lyme disease as well, and there's a couple of others, and your condition as well. Outwardly, you look fine.
I look well, don't I?
Do you know what I'm saying? and I think it helps us to understand that maybe not everything that you see is, like, say, for instance, I'm not sure if you have a blue badge, and I'm not even asking if you are, but say you did, if you stepped out of the car, people might go, look at her, what's she doing?
Oh, definitely.
Do you get where I'm coming from?
Oh, definitely.
It just helps open our eyes a little bit more as well. Is there anything else, Karen, that you want to add, or something I missed out on, or something it's important to you to mention?
I just want to tell people out there, don't give up hope, because even if you're bedbound, for me, after 36 years, there is life at the end of the tunnel. So please don't give up hope. There is support out there. I've trained to be a counsellor, so I'd be quite happy to help you if you're feeling depressed or anxiety due to this illness. You know, get in touch and I'd be happy to help.
Yeah, and I would say there's a lot of tears of the clown out there as well, where people have been maybe too brave for their own good and try and put on a brave face for everyone around them.
You do, because, they're all worrying about you, and that's with any illness. You're the one that's dealing with it.
You're the counsellor to them, saying, I'm
Yeah.
all right, I'm grand.
Exactly.
And inside you're blooming dying.
Yeah.
Emotionally, right? Okay, so Karen, you mentioned your support group and also the fact that, you're comfortable for people to reach out to you. Do you have a page or something we can put out, or do we retain your information here and pass it on to anyone who might contact us?
Bit of both.
Okay.
If anyone's in contact, just pass my details. I'm on Facebook. I've Donegal ME support
brilliant!
group,
So you got that right. Okay,
chronic
Donegal.
fatigue.
Yep.
So it's out there as well. Come and join, follow, message me. That'd be absolutely great, to be honest.
Okay, brilliant. People working together. Okay, thanks so much, Karen.
Thank you,
All right,
Greg.
I really appreciate, and I do hope this is not taking too much out of you and you were able to relax a little bit.
I've got my coffee now, so I should go
okay.
home and put my feet out and watch the telly.
Do so. Karen Quinn, who has ME, also known as CFS, which I understand actually, when speaking to Karen, chronic fatigue syndrome makes it sound like it's almost like, language to make things seem a little bit okay, when obviously it can be very, very debilitating. So check out Donegal ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, the support group on Facebook. If you want to contact us, we'll pass on any information Karen's happy for us to share. And we'll be back with more on the Greg Hughes Show after the break.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Teagasc will hold a tillage crop walk on Monday the 18th of May at 7 p.m. on the farm of Michael Grant, Drumbarnet Middle, Manor Cunningham, F92X786. Topics include winter and spring crop management and sprayer setup demo. All are welcome.
Make great photos into beautiful gifts at McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. Different gift ideas include canvas prints, freestanding or ready-to-hang art blocks, and personalised photo books perfect to mark any occasion. Also, there's jigsaws, calendars, mugs and much more. For details, visit mcgees.ie. Turn your favourite moments into something truly special with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
Rediscover Opel. Reimagined and re-engineered for today. Like the Frontera, Mokka, Grandland. And celebrating 35 years, the new look Opel Astra. The family hero across generations. With a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, flexible payment options, order before June 30th and get a €1,500 trade-up allowance across the entire Opel car range. The Opel Open Road event, now on at Manor Motors Opel. See manormotors.ie for details.
Looking for your next staycation-inspired escape? Keep it closer than you think with Logan Air. You can now save 20% on flights with promo code TARTAN20. All the escape with none of the long haul. Near really is the new far. With Logan Air, your next staycation is cleared for takeoff. To save 20%, book by midnight on Tuesday, 19th May at loganair.co.uk. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply, subject to availability.
Transform your living room with a luxurious, bespoke feature wall from Spratt Fireplaces, Newmills, Letterkenny. Our complete installations include built-in storage, electric fires, floating shelves, and stunning finishes in stone, porcelain, or marble. Each feature wall is designed and built in-house by our expert carpentry and stone masonry teams. No fuss, just flawless feature walls. Call 074 91 24144 or visit spratfireplaces.ie. Spratt Fireplaces, experts in heating, design, and detail.
Okay, welcome back to the programme. And I've got two very special guests in studio. One more important than the other to me anyway. Noel Cunningham, how are you, dear?
I am very well, dear. Thank you. I was really concerned because I was feeling a little bit off colour yesterday and I didn't have time to do hair and makeup this morning to come and meet you. So I feel a little bit vulnerable, so be kind and gentle.
You're okay. It's good to see.
Stunning was the word I was looking for.
I'm not, yes, but you know me, I try and be honest.
Absolutely.
Noel Cunningham is author and brand ambassador for Harvey's Point, Donegal Town, and our own David James, singer and presenter. Busy time for you.
Busy time.
With albums and gigs and all manner of things,
Yes.
and golfing trips.
And between.
Again, Monaco, London. I don't know. How do I get into this group?
This circle.
Yes.
I just don't
How
know.
do I penetrate it?
I just don't know.
Okay, but anyway, you've earned it. Good to have you with us. And, this is... I heard this from David last week, Noel, and I reacted to him off air the way I'm going to react on air. Things are changing a little bit in terms of the very, very successful cabarets at Harvey's Point, and you've got this boy in. Fantastic move. And I mean that earnestly, by the way.
For me personally, it's really kind of a source of personal pride and excitement, because years ago I saw David dancing as a child and then singing at other gigs, and I kind of consciously, not subconsciously, thought, I'm going to get that lad into our summer shows by hook or by crook, which I did. I think it's way back in 2018.
2018 or 2017.
Yeah, around that time. And even then, I thought, one day David will host that event.
Wow, okay.
And the reason for that is, and we have to be self-critical of our efforts at all time, there comes a time when you have to look in the cold light of day at what you're doing for your esteemed guests, your esteemed customer, the people who are paying our wages, and say, are we doing enough? Do we need to dial it up a little bit of energy, a little bit of, dare I say, youthfulness, and a little bit of taking other artists who will participate in this great summer lineup, take them out of their comfort zone a little bit as well, to dial it up a bit and make it a little bit more energetic and magical. And that's exactly what it's going to be. And it will be so lovely. And David and I were talking this morning, the whole summer show has a ring about it. Even the word sometimes cabaret is a little bit sort of...
No, I like that.
Yeah.
No, I like cabaret. It
Yeah.
has to feel...
I
like
yes.
it. Dance is grand.
Dance,
show,
absolutely not.
No,
summer cabaret.
Cabaret.
Absolutely.
And own it. I would own it.
Yes,
to be honest
summer
with you.
cabaret, bright, lively,
Exactly, is
and
what
the
it
man
is.
himself, young, vibrant, good looks.
No, but not enough about me.
Yeah.
we need to go to our next guest, David James. Come here. Other side of that. You're obviously, listen, you're doing really, really well. It's fantastic, okay? But this is another thing, isn't it? And this,
Yeah.
I would say this is actually really quite an exciting thing to get involved in.
It's very exciting, and to be associated with Harvey's Point is something that I'm very, very proud of. And I'll never forget myself and my dad driving up to Harvey's Point back in 2017, 2018 to meet Noel for the very first time, and we were going up the road in the car saying, what will we say? How will we convince him to let us do this cabaret? But, Noel really took me under the wing and gave me a chance when not many others were giving me a chance. Noel put me on that platform, and, all these years later now to be back hosting it, it's a huge honour.
Big shoes to fill as well, too,
Massive,
obviously.
because
Noel and his successor as well, too. Fantastic hosts.
Absolutely. Noel and Eamon done an amazing job over the years, and, to be carrying on this torch and taking on what they've done and trying to do it as well as them is going to be a big challenge, but one that I'm really looking forward to. We're bringing in my own band, are going to be the house band now. We're bringing in our own production crew in terms of sound and lighting. So we're going to do everything that we can to make this an exciting, new and fresh show.
And that's where you can sort of rejig things, because, in terms of the acts, they're the biggest names in the country. Right, and that's what people expect to see, Noel. So how do you layer onto that, right? So you've got beautiful setting, you've got fantastic food, and I can attest to that. You've got the names that you need to see there. So how do you sort of, change things but don't break what's not fixed? And then here you go. You get a new house band.
Absolutely.
You get a new... You get a new host. So people get the familiarity, but also the fresh, right?
Very simple. It's all about production now and about quality and resident band, the house band. And I say production values have changed. Now just it's not a case of having a spotlight. You have to think beyond that. And all of that is actually the easier part of it. And the other part of it is that David is talking to some of, as you say, the tried and tested, the big names that have been doing it, and kind of guiding them to step out of their comfort zone as well, and perhaps add a little bit of new to their programme, which is exciting too.
Yeah, the interesting thing about there's a series of summer cabarets and then the longer run cabarets then. But every night it's packed, but there's different nights. So theoretically, though people might not, maybe they do, you could go to the 3 separate nights effectively. Wednesday the 17th of June, Mike Denver, Philomena Begley, Cleona Hagan, along with Niamh and Gavin Shevlin. They're the dancing twins. They are amazing. And David James and his band. Jimmy Buckley's in on Wednesday the 24th. Sandy Kelly, Dominic Kerwin, along with Niamh and Gavin Shevlin, the dancing twins again. And on Wednesday the 8th of July, Patrick Feeney, Brendan Shine, Ronan Collins, along with Niamh and Gavin Shevlin, the dancing twins again, and then David James and his band. Now the four-course dinner and show is €75 per person. Now, obviously, there's an awful lot of overheads in relation to this. So I think that's a really good price point because this is a special event.
Yeah,
going to Harvey's. I'm not just saying that, right?
No.
But it is a special event. There's layers to life, right? There's levels. This is very high level.
Well, Greg, no more than my excitement last week to see your success in the recent sort of listenership reports, and you and the team here, Caroline, the whole gang. It's very great because a rising tide lifts all boats. Harvey's Point is a special occasion. You know, it's there to celebrate any special occasion in life, and to go there on a summer's evening and just the setting, the delicious dinner, the warm welcome. And I mean, I'm proud to sit here and say that because I am part of that, and I will always champion that cause, the respect for the guest, and we would never ever go out of our way to fleece our guests.
No,
and as you rightly say, 75 is great value for money, an international show, delicious dinner, that lovely ambience, and of course there's great accommodation package as well if you really want to push the boat out. And David James.
And David too. Do you know, these
Yes.
shows, you get bite size of so many acts at the
Yes.
same time, right? So you're the thread throughout the whole show, right? But, you know, Jimmy Buckley comes on, he does his bit, right?
Yeah.
And then next thing is what? And another Irish star comes. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like
it's
just
fast-moving.
it's a very kind of a unique experience. You don't have time to think. The night goes so quick.
Absolutely, it's fast moving, and you know that variety is what makes the show so entertaining for people, because we all like different things in terms of music, and I think no matter what you like, you're going to leave this summer show with the plan that I have in my head. You're going to leave absolutely satisfied and entertained.
And then look forward to the extended.
Well, that's what I was going to move on to, because
Absolutely.
this is the Summer Cabaret's 3 nights in June, first week in July, Wednesday 17th of June, Wednesday 24th of June, Wednesday 8th of July, and then what do you call it, the autumn run?
Autumn,
Yeah,
the autumn,
late-
the fall.
We're running September, October, and into the start of November, and then we have the big C word. We have the Christmas one as well.
Oh, we love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I have no problem talking about Christmas in January. I think people sort of conditioned to think you shouldn't, but stuff it. Let's do it. People love Christmas.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the Christmas Cabaret. So that's 2026 looking blooming good.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's a big challenge, but it's one that I'm really looking forward to. And you know, we have some great plans.
I can just see
in
him
the
at the
works.
back of the room in his tux with the glasses halfway down the nose.
The pen and paper, yeah. No,
David,
no.
dear, David. David.
Greg, you have made my job that little bit easier, because when I do precisely that, I say, well, you can blame Greg Hughes.
Was it K Sarah Sarah? The song you used to
Absolutely.
sing, right? So
And
you
he used
can't
to
sing
sing
that.
Those Were the Days.
Oh,
That
that's
was
the one.
Those were the days.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No, that is my song.
his.
We're in the market looking for an A3 clipboard for him at the minute. Like all his notes.
No, it's
Excellent
look,
stuff.
Greg. We have to, no more than what you do, Greg. We are Donegal. We are the Northwest. Everything we do should have the visitor, the local, and Northwest life in our sights.
And what I think is really nice, and the listener probably understands, but in case they don't, like there's 2 beautiful hotels in Loch Esk, and they both benefit each other. And the proximity to Donegal town, it's not like trying to rip trade off everyone. Everyone has something to offer, and it's an entire package. And people generally work really well together because you said a little earlier on the rising tide and
Absolutely.
all that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And let's forget that nonsense that we're competing. We're all there to enhance the experience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, we have Donegal at our core there at all times. We're excited to be bringing people, yes, to Harvey's Point and yes to the summer shows, but we're looking forward to bringing people to Donegal.
Is Ronan Collins a new addition, or has he been up before?
Ronan, I would know Ronan for many years, no more than yourself, Greg. He did something at Harvey's Point back in the day, but no, he was never part of what I call our summer cabaret staples.
Because I know he's been up a couple of times for the Mary from Dunlop Festival.
And so
it's incredibly popular, incredibly talented man.
Oh my God, he puts on this great show. Nothing wrong with a bit of nostalgia either, you see.
Yes. Yeah, of course not.
Do you know what's lovely? See, when we called Ronan to ask him would he be interested, he was so excited to be getting up to Harvey's Point and to being part of this show, and all the artists on the bill feel the same. It's unique in that sense. Of course we look forward to every show, but there's something that little bit special about these Wednesday nights at Harvey's.
Yeah, and it's a plethora of talent on each night. Jimmy Buckley, Patrick Feeney, Dominic Kerwin, Mike Denver, Philomena Begley, Cleona Hagan, Sandy Kelly, Brendan Shine, the aforementioned Ronan Collins, and the incredibly talented Niamh and Gavin Shevlin. And there's an intimacy to this as well too, and to see this close up, it's not often you don't get the chance to do it, right? So and the food's delicious. Well done, David. I think it's a marriage made in heaven, and I've no doubt that you're gonna as good as the two people that were before you and others, I've no doubt you're going to elevate it to something else and bring your own fans as well too, no doubt. How do people get more information?
harveyspoint.com or 07497222208. Call today, don't be disappointed.
Say the number again.
Yeah, 07497222208.
No, you have to go back to the old way. 22278.
07497222208.
Thank you. I don't like change. I'm uncomfortable with change. It's 222. Is it 2 nights for the package or 1 night?
The package is, as a rule, 2 nights.
2 nights,
yeah, which gives people a chance to come and relax and settle in and do the show and not think they have to be up at the crack of dawn and away back home. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
2 nights gives you the chance to enjoy Harvey's as a proper experience.
Absolutely.
The area as well.
And great packages, honestly, to include the cabaret and breakfast and those palatial suites. Gorgeous.
Yeah, and because what David was suggesting a little earlier on about being associated with the brand, it's a national brand, it's an international brand, and that's
and am I going to be very cheeky now and mention a Kilcarman, and that's the lovely Mark McHugh.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
Because we were all on the edge of our seat yesterday, and for me he's both a neighbour and the family friend, and we were so excited. It's really worrying for the gay community that Noel Cunningham is talking about the GAA. They're going to say
I think it's really worrying for the gay community that you presume all gay men or women don't love sport.
Oh, no, I didn't say. I always love sport, but kind of Pims and strawberries and tennis
that's fine.
And
you spilt your Pims as that final winning point went.
Absolutely,
okay.
But no, Mark McHugh did an extraordinary job.
All right.
And such an inspiration to young people. It's marvellous.
Excellent. And David, you're back on this afternoon?
Back on this afternoon, yeah.
Lovely
so
stuff.
looking forward
And Greg, thank you. And David, I am so excited.
Brilliant. Listen, we'd love to celebrate success and partnership and stuff that's good for the county as well. Back with the weather.
The Greg Hughes Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Big plans, big dreams. Home improvement loans, borrow up to €80,000. Visit letterkennycu.ie today.
Spring is in the air, and there's no better time to refresh your home with the unbeatable value at Grove Furnishings in Letterkenny. Family run since 1978, we've got a huge display of not just sofas but also dining sets, bedroom sets and floor coverings. With free local delivery, refreshing your home has never been easier. Grove Furnishings, just off the Kiltoy roundabout in Letterkenny. Let your new look home start with us. Also at grovefurnishings.ie.
Get ready for a massive night at Summer Sessions Letterkenny as legendary reggae superstars UB40 featuring original singer Ali Campbell and full band perform live in the Northwest for the very first time. Saturday, 22nd of August, 2026. This and more events happening at the Big Top at Kiltoy, Letterkenny. Buy tickets and get more info at summer-sessions.ie.
Keep your car running like new at Shane Connolly Cars Donegal Town. We service all vehicles, including hybrids and plug-in hybrids, using quality products and the latest diagnostics. Finishing every service with a free car wash. Relax in our waiting room with Wi-Fi, tea and coffee. And ask about our cover car options. Book your service today at Shane Connolly Cars on 9175783.
That's the Clear Mobile Parrot. He knows a good thing when he hears it, because it's only
$12.99.
Yes, only $12.99 for unlimited 5G data and calls. Yes, there are texts, and that's why he's our top salesperson. Parrot.
$12.99.
Clear Mobile. Keep it clear. Powered by Vodafone.
$12.99.
Activation fee €12.99. 23 gigabytes UK and EU roaming data. For terms, see clearmobile.ie.
People, you don't need me to tell you, running a business uses a lot of energy, and those costs keep getting bigger. 3 words: SEAI Business Supports. And I know what you're thinking. Sure, that'll take ages. 3 more words: Rapid Approval Grants. So you can start cutting your energy costs in minutes. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm just a voiceover. So search SEAI Easy Wins today. Are you ready? SEAI Easy Wins, supported by the Government of Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Get sorted for summer adventures with our extensive range of fashion, accessories, luggage, sun care and more. Explore our summer collection in-store or shop online at mcelhennys.com.
Apologies, I got carried away and ran over. Increasing cloud with rain spreading from